with Jason, Carey guitar, and welcome to another wonderful morning ritual for guitar growth, where we find ourselves talking about the things that matter most on the guitar, the deep things that sometimes we can tend to, I know I certainly can tend to overlook. So this is specifically designed for me to get with all of the things that I feel like I need to get to in a warm-up. So that's what's going on, and really love that you're here with me this morning. Hey, good morning, Kevin. Good morning. And it looks like we have Sky on board. It looks like we have Kevin on board and a couple of likes. So you guys are taking care of the housekeeping as you come in. And as you come in, if you would like to get some of that glare out of here, but if you wouldn't mind, as you come in, you're more than welcome to double tap the screen and just grab that, just smash that like button. And we have Mark B, Driven Equipment. Very cool to see you here. Very nice. Here's the A440 translated directly to the guitar. Also, I sent an email your way this morning, Kevin. Just so you know, it's your idea. Okay, your ideas. All right, so A string. Hey, good morning, Raul. Good morning. So we'll go ahead and tune up. Mark, good morning. Robbie, good morning. Good morning, Slim. Getting there. Slim Picker. It's my birthday. Let's see, dirty knickers. That's funny. You are funny. So Raul, you're 40 years old. Congratulations, man. Well done. Well done. Happy belated birthday. Just working on the tuning and saying, extending some greetings. Tortorello's on the chat. We've got both blue wrenches on board at the moment. And I see Jill here. Good morning. is. Raul, good morning. That was for you, my friend. Our friend. So thank you very much for being here and sharing your moments with us today. And all of the days that you put in. And you've really been stocking your YouTube channel up with some great, meaningful stuff. So. Let's go ahead and slumps a lot. Yeah, I can relate. Can you play Big Iron? You mean that Big Iron? That's a pretty big one. Slumps a lot. Thanks for being here. Thanks for asking. 1 E and a 2. This is Welcome to the Morning Ritual for Guitar Growth. I'm Jason, your host. We do this every weekday morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. For the entirety of 2025, we're going to 2025 and beyond. Insert Buzz Lightyear emote here. So we've got this really cool 1, 2 E and a T E and a 4 E and with fingers 4 attacks per beat, fingers 3 and 4 on frets 10 and 12. So we've got the old, it's a little stretchy just starting out. 1 E and a 2, T and a 4. And this is what we do in the morning. We just kind of stick to the guitar and we work guitar. So hopefully if you're just joining us, grab your guitar and you can practice along with us, and we'll be here all year long. We start every weekday morning at 7:30 a.m. And the fun part about this is you can, plug in when you want, duck out when you need to, and it's super easy to do, super easy just to be part of it. And you can hear the metronome in the back, maybe you can hear it. I'm not really sure what you can and can't hear, I'm making assumptions here, but the metronome is in the back, in the boot, and we are going to follow the metronome for a little while this morning. Fingers 2 and 3 on frets 10 and 12, and go. That's right. And we're going, I think 4 attacks per beat is a fair place to begin the day. And we work on breath as well as stretch. So stretching is super important for us as guitar players, so we do that a lot. Coming up to the 0 fret here. I feel like sort of like an alternate version of the great Gypsy Jazz or Django Reinhardt, and got my 2 fingers working, but they're the wrong 2 fingers, I think. 40's great, congratulations. Oh, birthday's coming up. I'm a fall baby, so I like the fall colors, the foliage. Some of us call it foliage, but I just read it down the way it's spelled, foliage, and then I like to be out in the foliage for my birthday. 1 E, and I like to be, to tell you the truth, I'd like to be fishing at Ice Out. We usually go up to a place called Island Pond, which is a euphemism for I'm never going to tell you where I go. And we go there for a week. We basically haul the aluminum boat in. It's loaded with hundreds of pounds of gear and food for the week, and it's against class 3. We're pulling it up against white water, broken toes and stuff occasionally. But then you get there for the week, and it's a little piece of heaven that nobody really knows about. And 1 E and a 2, T E and a 4 E and a. And I like to spend my time bathing in the spring lakes, in the remote lakes of my great state. And getting early fish on. You know what I mean? I like to do that a lot. But I'm changing up my pattern a little bit because this year I've committed to doing a live stream every weekday morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let me tell you a little bit more about getting that boat into that remote place. So, I mean, on the way out, let's talk about getting the boat, getting the rig out. If you get too close to the shoulders, the truck will go right off sideways and bury itself in the muck. And you know, it's a really, you have to have the equipment to get yourself in and out of these places. So, for example, some of these old logging truck roads, the wood's worn right off of these suckers and these bridges, and the only thing left are these I-beams, these steel I-beams. We've driven over those, just the I-beams, and one wrong turn and it's a real cluster. It's a real pig scramble to get yourself out of that situation. 1E and a 2E and a, you know what to do. Fingers 2 and 4 on 9 and 12. But we certainly enjoy the uncertainty of the wild or the wilderness. I suppose one doesn't just wander out into the wilderness, you know, unprepared. So there's a little bit of a learning curve for a guy like me. You know, you have to be, you know, really wanting it, I think, but it's a good thing to do. So we did start talking about, and today was actually the first day I considered it, but I wasn't prepared to get outdoors and do this live stream out of doors in some of the finest places I can show you. I can share with you some of these places. At some point, we'll go ahead and do that. I think that will happen sooner than later because the weather is here now and it's stabilized and it's very, very comforting. We put Bob, the tomato plant, we're hardening Bob off right now. It's a beefsteak, an heirloom beefsteak, and then we harden it off, we bring it outside, I put it in the sun in the morning just on the back side of the deck, the back deck, and then 1E and a 2, fingers 1 and 3, and here we go. Hey, Lyrica Rhymes. Bro, play it perfect. Anyone here happen to be in New Jersey? No. I'm not in New Jersey. I'm close to New Jersey. I mean, I'm, you know, not too far away. I love to travel. Fret energy. Oh yeah, gotta get the 0 fret in there. Oh yeah, Walden Pond. Yeah, all right. Now you're dinging the bell for me. Right there, civil disobedience. So 1E and a 2, fret 7 and 12, and go. Those are some pretty powerful names you're slinging around there, Anthony. The 0 fret with this marker here. That's it. And then we're heading back up. Maybe we'll go up as high as our guitars will allow us. But I'm not forgetting to breathe. And you can see that my posture is falling apart a little bit because this is sort of an extreme. This is you know, sport guitar, this kind of fingering right here. This is designed sort of for like sport guitars. So we have a a machined aluminum path for our stick to travel when we change gears, so we don't want to shift into the wrong gear. Got to have that gearbox tight and stuff. So, man, that's a great way to start, isn't it? We're almost 15 minutes in. We're just about 15 minutes in. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at it. Let's go ahead and take a look. Where are we at with our breath? I'm breathing in, I'm sitting up straight. I'm going to stretch because that one was a real kicker. That was a kicker. So here's the first stretch of the morning at 1/4 way through. So this is totally appropriate because I think by design we would like to practice our stretching every 15 minutes, especially if we're going to make an effort to play for 1 hour at a time, as we do in these mornings that we find ourselves connected and glued to this viewport, practicing the morning ritual for guitar growth alone, together. You can hear the bluebirds. I can hear the bluebirds. I'm not sure if that makes it onto this microphone or not. But the chicks are already moving around. I'll tell you one thing about fishing. Yeah, I see the comments about fishing. That's remarkable. You're not kidding. Like we get into some spots where the native brook trout are this big, and this particular fishery doesn't produce like small fish. God didn't put small fish in this fishery, and if you put a salmon out of it, the salmon will come right up through, and you've got fly lines. We drift the dead drift fly line, and then with the whatever on the end. And then when you pick up a salmon and it breaks through the surface of the water, this salmon, I've never seen it before, and you can ask my best cousin Kemp. He like couldn't believe it. So it comes up through the water surface and it flips its tail so violently that it like literally danced all the way on the surface, all the way to the boat. You know, that was a whole new experience for. You've never seen anything like it. It's just when you're engaged in that moment, whoo, doggy. It's hard to find a. I have a friend who ties flies, and he says the tug is the drug, man. The tug is the drug. And he's not lying. So, but when you hear fish on and the tug, you know, and your 5 or 6 weight looks like a taco, you know you've got something pretty cool going on. All right, where are we at? Fingers 2 and 3 and 4. So 1 E and a 2, 10, 11, and 12. Here we go. And you can thank your new arms for this newly found connectedness here. And we can work on finger rolls if you like, you know, just kind of suturing our way up and down these strings as we finger roll up and down the positions, getting us to, you know, hopefully we don't get too sleepy doing this, but these are all exercises that we can literally do. The more we do these exercises, the more we find ourselves in a place of certainty. we'll just peel the our trails will peel the paint right off your trucks. You know what I mean? But it's designed. It's got the VFGs on it, so it's designed to go everywhere we ask it to go. You know, for the most part. Yeah, yay, the mid-coast. Just cranking it up a notch here. And mixing it up. Stirring the pot, so to speak. just having some fun. You know, it's just all about who cares what it looks like, as long as you're having fun, and who really cares what it sounds like, as long as you, I guess sound does have something to do with it, right? Oh, we get the muscle taking care of a few messages there. Thanks, buddy. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. So here we go. 1 E and a 2, taking a look at fingers 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And this live stream is just smoking right by. We've got some new technologies that we're going to introduce here in the next week. We've been up late for the past few days getting ready to do this, but almost there. 1 E and a 2. 1 E and a 2, 1, 2, 3 on frets 9, 10, 11, and 12. Hello, Indonesia. Oh, I'm missing some things. Oh, Pakistani music. You will love it. I'm sure I will. I mean, what are we talking about? I'm not really sure what we're talking about. I'll have to take a look. I mean, are you talking about sort of classical format or sort of popular music format, sacred? What do you recommend? I've got a really grippy pick hand right now, so my pick is. I'm really asking, I'm calling for volume. I'm calling for hot water and I'm getting boiling water. That's what's going on with my picking hand at the moment. I'm just working on just experimenting with, you know, what happens if I grip the pick really tightly and I give it a good positive energy transfer from each downstroke and each upstroke. So here I'm going to lighten up my grip a little bit, and you can immediately feel like that tension is all gone. I'm going to work through rhythmic displacement here with you this morning too, a little bit on the next exercise. How useful those chords that we've been looking at with our chord chemistry. Some of these are just, let's see. So we have E. I'm thinking this lick, for example, ba 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 ba. So ba 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 ba. I want to make a quick chord solo out of it. So I've got to use the 5-3-1-6-1, the old 5-3-1-6-1 melody finisher, right? So if I put this thing up here, so there's all kinds of that stuff. And then all I need to do really is, I could reharmonize it with a different voicing. Right, and it gets really great. I just need to hit the E, the C sharp, and the A. So that's all I need to remember. And then that what is that? D, C, D, E. For those of us who don't know exactly where every note is, I'm going to find out what note that is. C, B, C, D, E, F, F sharp is the 6 of A major. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the old 6 of A major. Yeah, it's what helped Louis Armstrong make everyone so happy. Oh, don't forget where the melody is E, C sharp, A, F sharp. And we're just doing this quick little insert because we can. Yeah, and then we'll work on shaping that tone. We'll come a little closer to the sound hole. And we'll lean the pick forward so we have a little more surface, you know, scraping through the string at one time. And it's going to fatten up the sound a little bit more, right? Make it a little more round, which is what all those great jazzers are good at. Oh. Let's get that together, that part. And then we could also use this really cool like fifth or quintal or chordal quintal, you know, voicing with 9, 9, 10, and 12. As long as we have that melody on the top, that E, C sharp, A, and then F sharp, and then back to finish off with, you know, the, I don't know, Lydian, I don't know, whatever you want to finish it off with. Maybe you want to continue implying motion, right? And you just use that dominant 7 flat 5. So we could do another one, which is like, all kinds of really cool tricks where you can use those shapes that we've been working on during our chord chemistry time. We could take some of those chords and learn how to plane them, parallel plane them across the guitar to create these beautiful, beautiful harmonic experiences. So anyway, let's jump back into it. Let's go through the rhythmic displacement. 1 E and a 2. Hey, a 1Z and a 2C, and I'm putting on my shoesies, Mark. This is for you. Sam Sri, good morning. Shalom Sal. Sir, do you know Toyo from Narcos? Can you kindly play it? I do not know it, but I should go look at it and give it a good listen. Thank you for asking. Smash that like button. If you're here and you haven't done it yet, you could always smash that like button or double tap the screen, you know, just to give it a little bit of a love. Give it some love. And myusername.com, that's cool. DOTCOM. We're getting that fourth finger stretch going here. So that's how we build some of those chord solo type things, by the way, and you know, with some really interesting voicings and interesting shapes. And the cool thing about guitar, and not like on piano, because if we were parallel planing those on piano, that would be a real pig scramble, finding all of those different fingerings. But fortunately for guitar, it's really easy for us to parallel plane shapes. And if you have a really strong melody, such as ba 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 ba, what we just did, that's enough to hold the piece together while you play a chord concept around underneath the melody. Pretty fun stuff, right? Let's do that rhythmic displacement situation here, coming up right here. So I see a new Lior 777. Good morning. Good morning. We have put the weights and measurements in for shipping today. Thanks, guys. Yeah, right on. All right, so here we go. We've got 1 E and a 2, frets 8, 10, 11, and 12. So 1 E and a 2 E and a T E and a 4 E and a. So instead of leaving out a tone, I'm going to do something it's rhythmically challenging for me. 1 E and a 2 E and a T E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a T E. I'm going to leave out beat number 1, but I'm going to continue going through the motions here. 1 E, so it will offset what I always think about as rhythmically stable. This will help to offset what I have grown to accept and become comfortable with the feel, but it's going to help me challenge myself to engage in counting. Doing these same old patterns with a new and fresh perspective on rhythmically displacing the notes. We're going to have a little 8th note hiccup every time we come around beat number 1. 1 E and a 2, 3 E and a 4 E and a rest E and a 2 E and a T E and a 4 E and a rest E and a 4 E and a rest E and a 2 E and a T E and a 4 E and a rest E and a 2. I have 2 upstrokes in a row because I keep that pick hand playing going, that pick hand continuum going. Sort of vibrato there. All right, let's go ahead and just get back to stretching. We'll draw the shoulders back. So we have these shoulders kind of coming up and back. And we'll get the neck up here and look to the side and come around high to the side again. And then we'll get those arms sort of cactused out. And push those back as far as we can. And then we'll go ahead and come back into the center and grab our very nice and welcomed finger stretch. forearm stretch. I play on electric guitar, Gibson Les Paul. Good deal. Yeah, it's a fun guitar to play, for sure. All right, and thank you kindly. So we have a nice stretch going here. I just have a question. Do any of you have days where you feel like you don't want to be doing this? Do any of you feel like you have days where you don't want to play the guitar, but you have made yourself a commitment to be there regardless, to be there for the, for the long term, for the long haul? I'm sure it's very common. We've surveyed a lot of students over the years, and a lot of friends, let's say guitar friends, because really we all learn from each other, I think. But Bob used to come in and he used to say, yeah, sometimes I just don't feel it. Sometimes, and he like get really down on himself about, I feel like I'm not going anywhere with the guitar. I feel like it's not, I don't even know, sometimes I don't even know why I'm a guitar. He was a bass player. I also teach bass, functional bass. But he was a guitar, I'll call him a guitar player because he's a string family, and he just didn't, know why he was doing it anymore. He sort of lost that. It's a really good idea to, be sure to exercise, diet, get outside, find some way to feed your mind and feed your soul, and take a break from it, a breather, but always come back to it. And even if I feel like I don't want to get to the practice, because, geez, I've felt like that before too, Bob. I don't know. I don't think you're the only one. And every single time I sit down with the guitar, I'm like literally always happy that I did it. I don't know. I don't think I've ever had a bad time playing the guitar. I don't think I've ever felt like it was a bad choice. Do you? I mean, can you look back and think about, remember a period where you thought, well, I'll play the guitar and this is miserable, I'll put it away. I don't think I've ever had that moment. I've had two people in my past get red in the face because, he just didn't get what he wanted out of the lesson or something. And he was like physically agitated. I was a little worried for my own well-being. But I mean, those things aside, generally speaking, like the guitar for many is such a wonderful thing. So what does the guitar do? Let's start just kind of chilling it out a little bit and work a little bit on strum patterning today. Just heading back to the, the old people's key of G. Whoever has the most fun wins. Yeah, there you go. There's a song in there somewhere, man, right? Happens when I use my first finger to stretch. If I get my second finger in there, it works great because I can set up get that really nice downstroke with the pick hand, but really nice slide from fret 2 to 4, and it sets up with your second finger, it sets up that first finger so beautifully, right? And you can decide if you want that slur to be, you know, if you want to feel every note as you glance over each fret, or if you want it to be a little faster and a little more slippery, or if you want to start on 2, or if you want to already be moving by the time we start with 2. So I guess what I'm trying to do is build the case, or write just a brief justification so that I can earn playing this G chord with the last 2 fingers. Because now I don't see, before I'd have to, if I wanted to get up and out of open position, I'd have to sort of, you know, leave this, abandon this note, you know, get a switch from one position to the next, then get sort of sliding around. But now if I keep that 3rd and 4th finger, I can play all of the notes from the G major scale in that G chord. Under the, you know, so I might have to edit something a little bit here, but certainly the open, you know, G major pentatonic scale. This is the difference between like being a Formula One driver and a stock car driver. You know, they're even, you know, there are experts in every field. So like, how would I know what the car actually feels like unless I've spent the time going around the track? You know, how would I know? So that G5 chord really turns into the, let's do that one more thing. Let's take one of those things that we talked about, planing a shape. Let's move that into the key of G and see if that can work to our advantage. So we'll start with the 5. Oh, we gotta get up here to the 5. The D in the top, B in the top, the G in the top, and then, right, instead of heading back to that sort of jazzy end, maybe we just kind of punch our way through this. Or maybe we can use that as part of our, you know, cross-picking technical expansion. So have to try to create a link to get from here. And this is sort of how Chris Thiele might think about approaching the traditional instruments of bluegrass with his Punch Brothers band, right? So I don't know how much you have been exposed to Punch Brothers, but it's very, very highly proficient group of band of acoustic. You look at them on the stage and you would swear to God you were witnessing a bluegrass band. Totally capable of playing the bluegrass thing, but they're sort of way outside the box, you know, and draw in repertoire from all over the world and fold it into this nice, neat little, skillfully, very highly polished, delivered package. So, you know, instead of just starting out with so there might be some sort of, you know, this is the kind of stuff that I like to think about, you know. And then maybe work that into a, you know, link it into a G run, and then we're back to the G chord. But we're coming from way out of left field, and the ball's coming. You don't know if the second baseman's going to get it or not, right? But he always does. Maybe we do, you know, some kind of a diminished sequence. And then if these ideas are sticking, great. If not, so if they're not sticking, you've been exposed to the idea. So the little germ of the idea. It's not necessarily a good or bad idea, it's just an idea. So we're starting with the 5, the 3, and then the root and then the 6, and then we're moving down into the world of diminished, clinically diminished. And then the band can just hammer on it. So maybe we start with something like sequence like that, where we start with some counterpoint. Something like that. Those are creative little things that you can build and write out and craft for yourselves. And those are things that you might write out, and then you might draft those ideas and then come back later and learn them, and then bring them, invite them into your own repertoire, your own bag of tricks, right? So that's the value of that kind of thing. So let's go ahead and take a look at let's take a look at one more thing before we just sort of get thinking about knocking for the day. We're on a mission from God. That's funny. Oh, take it easy. Punch Brothers are awesome. Oh, Kevin knows what's going on. Oh, when you do something you like, it automatically becomes something good. Yeah, always. You know, we're always in it for the save, Mr. Warner. Both kinds of music, country and western. right, let's take a little bit of a look at some of these. You know, we don't always need to, while we're on a chord kick and we're folding this into our warm-ups, let's also think about cycling. So we're thinking about cycling these things and then through diminished sequencing, and whether or not they conform to the whole step pattern or whole tone scales, or inverted diminished or diminished sequences, we can still use those sequentially to plane any chord we want through. So those are really cool ideas in my mind to help us justify getting from one key to anywhere else almost anytime we would like as guitar players or musicians. Yeah. Oh, we could work the rest of the time on hammer-ons too, and I noticed that that's sort of, I don't have really a specialization for us today, and I feel like I'm doing way too much talking, so I'll go ahead and just kind of work us through hammer-on and pull-off sequences, because I think I saw Angshita was bad. One E and a two, so da 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 da. And I'm thinking just, you know, like a word that makes sense to use 16th note triplets through this quarter note breakdown, this quarter note grid at 60 beats per minute. So I'm thinking the same thing with fingers 2 and 4. So C Jill. So, and then we work on sort of those ideas, and then we find like new places to create. So if I'm playing F Lydian, that would be the key of C, and then I could hammer on C. This is really cool because these are the kinds of things that I like to do when I write music. So really fun stuff to do. There's no shortage of cool things to do on the guitar and cool things to practice. So, I hope it was sort of a fun little session for you today. Something a little bit different, and this is a representation of me being pretty light on the sleep last night. So now you know. All right. But the idea is just to kind of focus on a chord change, whether it's strum pattern, bass note, and then chord, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, basic pattern, and then we can expand from there. Maybe work on forward and reverse rolls with, so this is interesting right here. So the right hand or the picking hand could do just a series of forward rolls, alternate picking all the way up through the guitar, the string set, and then G chord, and then the same thing. And then work on perfecting that. So that way we have a framework that we understand is happening between one chord and the next. Thanks, Kevin. We'll see you guys later, and thank you very much for being here with me today. And tomorrow morning will be another new day and cause for celebration, and we'll see you tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Work out those little fingers and continue our journey. All right, bye for now. And what is it? Happy Wednesday today? Happy Wednesday and happy picking.